This is Pro Football Blitz with former Super Contest winners Brady, Kannon, and James Salinas on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hour number 2, the hour we always enjoy here on the Pro Football Blitz. Brady, Kannon live at the Circa Resort and Casino in downtown Las Vegas. And my partner, James Salinas, is along via Denver, Colorado. And my friends have joined me here, Derek Stevens and Jeffrey Benson, of course, of Circa Sports. Happy New Year, gentlemen. Good to be back with you again. Big party here in downtown Las Vegas on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, it was something. It was something. Record ticket sales out on Fremont Street, so it was a lot of fun. It got a little chilly, but everybody was in a great mood, and everybody had a great time. And it lasted into the wee hours to the point where we had a pretty interesting transition for the early 9 o'clock games, and the New Year's Eve revelers were still struggling their way back home.
Very good. We are on to 2022, and of course, we're on to 2022 for the Circa Millions and the Circus Survivor, the first week of the new year, the final 2 weeks of the contest. We're in the fourth of the fifth week for the Circa Millions quarterly prize. I mean, this is where it gets crazy, right? I think we had that sweat party, if I recall, last year. Was still maybe 5 or 6 weeks left in the season. I can't remember. It seemed like it came earlier last year, but we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Obviously, as you mentioned, 2 weeks left here in the season, an exciting race in the fourth quarter, and then obviously our 5 Survivor contestants left. So as we kind of turn the calendar year and, wrap up the NFL regular season, certainly looking forward to sweating some of this stuff with our contestants and, hope for a great week of football.
All right, let's get to the top 5 most popular picks, the consensus 5 picks in the Circa Millions contest. Mr. Benson.
Yeah, a couple of housekeeping notes. Week 4 of quarter 4, as you mentioned, it's a 5-quarter week. Currently, after 3 weeks, we have one person who's 15-0 and 4 people who are 14-1. When you look at the overall season-long results up to this point, Hannibal Barca continues to lead with one of his entries. He has a 1-point lead on the field, and then his second entry is 1 point behind, and he is tied for second as well. So certainly a good start for him, looking to close a strong season for him. And then conversely, when you look at the Booby Prize, Jiggy Jack leads the Booby Prize race by 3 losses. He's at 28.75% for the year. So a 3-game lead at that point, pretty sizable. But they're going for big money in the full season-long standings, and certainly some exciting picks here this week.
Yeah, I love the Booby Prize option. It really adds such an element, not only introducing the quarterly prizes, but for those of you thinking about playing in Circa Millions next year, remember you can try to finish in last as well.
Yeah, Jeff, say that again. Hannibal Barca's record this year is what?
71.25%. So conversely,
what exactly what was his?
57-23.
57-23. Jiggy Jack at 23-57.
Yeah.
Jiggy Jack is like the secretariat of boobies. This is unbelievable. A three-game lead by himself with only 10 selections to go. This is unheard of.
He's really in the driver's seat. Absolutely. And you said Hannibal Barca just has a 1-game lead, but also has a 1-game lead over himself, his second entry, right?
Correct. I believe there's 3 people with 56 wins. So he is pacing the field by 1 win. His second entry is also tied for second. So certainly an exciting race as we come down to the finish here.
All right. Well, let's see who the most popular picks are, the top 5 this week in the Circa Millions.
Yeah, certainly no surprise. I think it's a record number of entries. Packers -7 versus the Sean Mannion-led Vikings. That had a total of 1,921 selections and was the most popular choice this week in the Circa Million 3. The Rams -3.5 versus the Ravens with 1,339 selections was the second overall most popular choice. The Titans -3 versus the Dolphins with 1,044 selections was the third most popular choice this week. Working our way down, the Cardinals +6 on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. That had a total of 963 selections and was the fourth most popular choice. And then last but not least, on Monday Night Football, the Steelers +3.5 in Big Ben's final home game versus the Cleveland Browns with 887 selections. To recap one more time, Brady, the Packers -7, the Rams -3.5, the Titans -3, the Cardinals +6, And to close it out, the Steelers plus 3.5.
3 favorites and 2 underdogs. Mr. Salinas, any of those surprise you? Of course, it's no surprise that the Packers are number 1 with the contest line being at -7. And then we got the news after the fact that Cousins will be out. That live line now at about -13. But anything else there that catches your eye?
As a 6-point underdog here going against Dallas. Now, is it Dallas going to feel like now that they've wrapped up their division title, what are they playing for? I think this is a revenge game for Dallas, considering that was the game last year where they hosted Arizona right after Dak Prescott, the game that he went down, and they got throttled at home 38-10. We saw that last week where Dallas wanted to exact some revenge from how they got handled by the Washington football team a year ago. I think the same thing as far as motive is concerned with the Cowboys. They're going to come ready to play and bring it with the Cardinals team that I think their psyche might be a little fractured right now.
Are you a little surprised by the sentiment there, maybe for the Steelers? Is that are people betting on the Big Ben deal there, Jeff? Are you seeing that at the window as well, or do you think they're just playing 3 and a hook?
I think they're just playing 3 and a hook. Obviously, it's a division game. Probably going to be cold there in Pittsburgh, and obviously Cleveland's been very inconsistent all year. So I think it's more of a number play than anything to do with sentiment.
All right, let's get to Circus Survivor. Mr. Stevens, you control that contest there on the show here. And boy, 5 entries remaining. The inherent value of each person's ticket that is left is 1.2 milski.
Yeah, this is really something. You know,
It is.
I've had the opportunity to be on a lot of the shows this week, and you know, all the speculation of who's taking who. You know, to think about this as an open contest with over 4,000 participants back at the beginning of the season, we're down to 5, and now the whole country's really kind of rooting on these guys and trying to figure out which move they're going to make, because the strategy here, I think there's a lot to be learned with the strategy of how these guys are playing it to teach us all a little bit something about next year here. So I'm going to go through this now. Each one of these individuals is going to get named here. I mean, these final 5, we're going to really try to celebrate them. And I'm going to do it in an order, not quite the same order as maybe what you see on, but I want to talk about Chris Piper first off. Chris Piper, he has, you know, his alias is very, very uniquely not covered up, because Chris Piper is Chris Piper 1.
Okay.
And Chris Piper 1 took the Chargers. We expected him to take the Chargers. That was the clear play for Chris Piper coming in. He was in a situation where some of the other teams that other contestants had the opportunity to take weren't available, and it was pretty clear that Chris Piper was going to take the Chargers, which he did. Mike Cool is interesting. He has Kansas City left available, but took the 49ers. So we thought the 2 entrants that had the 49ers available were going to take the 49ers, and they did, which is what Mike Cool and the Syracuse Hawkeyes did. They both took their 49ers selection, which we thought was really the strongest available play without potentially blowing $1 million bonus down the road.
Sure.
Now, a couple others here we're talking about. On top 247. This was one where he had a gut check decision. Could have taken Kansas City and didn't, and took New Orleans. Obviously valuing the saving of Kansas City until next week, having some additional value because he'd be eligible for the $1 million bonus. So he made the gut check move and did it. And we talked a lot about this. If you had the ability to take Tampa or Kansas City, would you take them this week, or would you hold on? You know, and it's easy to say as a pundit or as strategist and things like that, but when you're in it, it's a whole different ball game. So on top 247 took the Saints. And then an individual entrant, Return of Survivor, that has really kind of been in the news of late. This was the individual that took the Titans on Christmas week. Oh. This was the individual for about a 48-hour period. It was within a 2-team parlay of a pool scoop.
Right.
He took the Seattle Seahawks this week. He did have Tampa Bay available. So what a gut check move to not take Tampa, take Seattle against this upstart, you know, Fighting Lions team. But you know, fortune's been going the way of Return of Survivor here. So pretty interesting. And Jeff, you made a comment about the return of Survivor pick just before we came on, which adds even a little more risk to the deal.
Yeah, I think when you look at next week, the look-ahead lines was KC -3 versus Denver and 16.5 versus 16.5 versus Carolina for Tampa Bay. But obviously, with the Packers, the Cowboys, and the Rams being in the driver's seat in terms of seeding there, if those three teams win, what does Tampa Bay have to play for next week? So lot of things to kind of evaluate when you look at it like that. And if you possibly don't think that, Tampa Bay is going to have anything to play for next week, using them this week as opposed to saving them for next week, a lot of strategy behind that decision.
That's really the danger of Week 18 if a team pulls all their starters. Now, Return of Survivor's the only guy that has Tampa Bay left, and on top 247 and Mike Cool, the only two entries that have Kansas City left, right?
Yeah. So again, we're really not trying to scrutinize it. We want to celebrate that these decisions these guys got to make.
Awesome.
Boy, oh boy, what a week they had.
James, would you have been able to sleep at all for the last couple weeks down to the final five? This is crazy.
Fellas, I'm getting sweaty palms as you guys are just talking about it right now because I'm rooting for all these guys. I mean, yeah, we've been there from it when it comes to winning a contest, but something like this is probably this has got to be the biggest payout we've ever had in contest history of any football contest out there in Las Vegas. So, yeah, would I be sleeping? Absolutely not.
Derek, your project at the beginning of the year, you took a lot of heat wanting to give away this much money. Well, I think you've got what you asked for. We got some real drama going, my friend. Thank you, gentlemen. Happy New Year to you. We'll be back with more in a moment on the Pro Football Blitz.
Here are 3 reasons Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch. We use food-grade ingredients. We have a wide selection of varieties. And they all come in 2 strengths. Find Zyn at a store near you.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.